I want to mute your microphones. And I see that there is a transcript coming up. So I have to switch that off, I believe. Turn how to do that. Record and stop transcription. Yes. Okay, that's better now. So the recording is active. I want to ask you to mute your microphones. And I believe that this makes us ready to start Annemarie's contribution to our series. Please, Annemarie, you will have to load your presentation and then we can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for inviting me. In the meantime, I will see if I can load the presentation.
One thing I still have to add is that questions are, of course, welcome. I would like to ask you to post your questions in the chat. After Annemarie's presentation, I will, if necessary, select a few of these questions and propose them to Annemarie for a reply. Questions which would not be addressed during this webinar can still be forwarded to Annemarie. And we agreed that she would take some time, of course, until the end of the week to reply to you then personally when such questions are there. Okay, yes, thank you very much.
If it is okay, you can see the presentation now?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Annemarie Rebel. I'm going to tell you something from a veterinary perspective, but also in the context of the Netherlands. So the Dutch approach to One Health, and then the collaboration between human and veterinary science. First of all, I'm the director of Wageningen Bioveterinary Research, next to the fact that I'm a professor on healthy and resilient livestock. And we are located in Lelystad. And at this moment, we are rather busy with the diagnostics of bluetongue viruses, but I will come back to that to you later. And why I'm here at the Veterinary Institute is that Wageningen Bioveterinary Research contributes to a society where animals and humans live a healthy life. And we do that by scientific research to prevent the spread of animal diseases and promote their health. So I'm very pleased that I'm working here and can and are able to be part of the One Health research. And although you have heard yesterday already part of the One Health ID, I wanted to start to give you still the definition of One Health. This is the definition of the World Health Organization. And One Health is an integrated approach to balance and optimize the health of people, animals, and the environment. It is important to prevent, predict, and detect. And then, of course, respond in a way that global health threats, such as, for instance, the COVID-19 pandemic, are prevented. So the interaction of people, animals, and the environment, so the whole ecosystem is of importance in a One Health approach. So we started as the Netherlands with a community, the Netherlands Center for One Health. We started with 3 partners to see if we can actually combine the knowledge of veterinary science and human science. We're now in our 7th year of the Netherlands Center of One Health, and more people or more academic universities actually are joining us. So now we have Amsterdam University, the medical university involved, the Erasmus MC, so the Erasmus Medical Center, from Leiden, the Leiden University Medical Center, from Nijmegen, het Radboud Medical Center, and from Utrecht, the Medical Center. And then we have from Leiden the university, so more the biological part. From Groningen, also the university. From Utrecht, also the university. And from Wageningen, the animal sciences group. Next to that, we have an associate that is from the department from our ministry, public health and environment. They are not an official partner. That is due to legislation because they are part of the ministry. In how it is working, it does not matter if they are an official partner or not. Now I'm trying to get to the next slide. Oh yeah. So why did we start in the Netherlands with this Netherlands Center of One Health? We are, as you probably all know, a rather dense country, a small country. And if you look at the amount of people that are living there and the amount of chicken, pigs, calves, sheep and cows we have per square meter, then you can imagine that it is rather logical for us as people or scientists from the Netherlands that we should start a center of One Health. So what did we decide? What kind of boundaries did we discuss when we started this One Health perspective? So we want to aim for an integrated One Health approach by tackling the global risk of infectious diseases. And we want to do that by creating durable solutions for this major challenge by bundling world-leading academic top research in the area of One Health. But then world leading is in the sense of the Netherlands, because for now we are really focusing on the Netherlands. Of course, within European projects, we are joining forces with other academic research or universities, but for now it is the universities in the Netherlands. Why are we doing this? I guess you all know that, but the WHO published the list of top emerging diseases. Also, the World Animal Health have lists which kind of threats will be new challenges, and how can we handle that? How can we be prepared for these kind of things? Next to that, in the Netherlands, but also in other parts of Europe, we want to have healthy animals, but we want to do that by reduction the amount of antibiotic that is used. And next to that, we still have people, and of course we not still have people, but we have people living together with our livestock, because the livestock is combined in the regions where also people live, in areas where a lot of people can live. Next to that, the environment is still changing, and not only here as a part of the Netherlands, but also if you look at the climate is changing. So other animals or other vector-borne diseases are easily moving by. And this is just like how the Netherlands looked like in the black and white picture, and how we actually made more lands, but also with deforesting or with building larger cities, you change the environment, and thereby you change the interaction of the ecosystem between animals, humans, and the environment. So what did we do as the Netherlands Center of One Health? We defined, on top of the One Health approach, 4 teams to start with. So we started with a team tackling antimicrobial resistance. So that is how are antimicrobial resistance genes being transmitted in the whole ecosystem. So between animals and humans, but also between soil, water, and humans or animals. How is that tackled? And on the other hand of that part is how can we reduce the use of antimicrobial antibiotics? How can we do that? One other team is emerging infectious diseases and the preparedness for that. How can we be prepared for things that we don't know yet? So for disease X, how can we be prepared? But also how can we actually, the diseases that we do know, how can we tackle them, and how can we work together between the human and veterinary interface? And then we have a team healthy wildlife and ecosystems. And although you can assume that the Netherlands does not have that many wildlife, in the end we do have a lot of wildlife, because also rats and mice are wildlife, and they are actually transmitting are at least are able to transmit a lot of diseases to other parts in the ecosystem. And then you have a part, smart and healthy farming, where we try to see how can we actually gain healthier livestock in such a way that the zoonotic potential can be reduced. And I was until April the scientific director of the smart and healthy farming part, but since last 2 months I'm the chair of the whole Nederland Center of One Health. So we are moving a little bit further, but it is really I really enjoy having the chair of this nice collaboration. So what we have done with all the people that are in the teams is we try to have overarching topics. So we don't want to have research within one pillar, because then we're still not using the potential of a One Health approach, but we have overarching topics. So what have we what did we obtain by having this Nederland Center of One Health? So during the COVID-19 pandemic, it was really easy because the collaboration was already there. So we were able to find each other rather fast. And with the outbreak in the Minks, but also with the outbreak management team in the Netherlands, a lot of people that were or that are still a member of the NCOH were already connected and thereby could act rather fast. Also, with the avian flu epidemic from the last 2-3 years, we also could really go fast and have the advice to our government rather fastly there. So we can find each other, and thereby we have the belief that we can be earlier prepared and have a faster response when outbreaks happens in the Netherlands. So the most important part of the NCOH, because there is no money involved in the NCOH, it is a community, and we like to have a community built and also to have the young people involved. So we have face-to-face events. So we have a science cafe every year. And there we combine all the universities, but also the PhD students. We also have a scientific meeting every year. We have master classes, but maybe most important from my perspective is that we have young NCOA's activities. So PhD students who normally are really focused on their own topic and really go into depth in that topic are now being brought together and also listen to other parts of the One Health perspective, and also are able to actually broaden their view and not only going into a depth expertise. Of course, we also have digital things like the website, the newsletter, and the LinkedIn, and we have webinars. So if you look here at the fact sheets, for now we have 98 principal investors. We have 400 active participants. Within the grants that we gained, there is 50 million invested in the last 7 years. We have 30 collaborative projects, and we have a cohort of 65 PhD students, all working under the umbrella of the NCOH. And this is a fact sheet for 2022, but for 2023, it is not really that different. So there's still one university we're talking to that really like to be a partner, and we see how we can get that university in. The PIs are a bit growing because luckily everyone is really happy to join and also stick to the NCOH. And the amount of PhD students is sometimes growing, but of course also PhD students, after 4 years, they have their thesis and they are getting out of this chart. So the PhD research programs that we do have now in place are within the topic complex systems and metagenomics. So because we have 4 teams, as I just told, antibiotic resistance, emerging infectious diseases, wildlife and ecosystems, and smart and healthy farming, we don't want to have a research topic that is in one pillar. So we have a research topic, complex systems and metagenomics, which is overarching. We have overarching disease intervention strategies, because that is not only on the emerging infections, but also on the smart and healthy farming, but also in the antibiotic resistance or tackling antibiotics, because there you also want to have intervention strategies. And we have a research topic, vector-borne diseases, which is also broader than just one of the 4 teams. So we're really looking together, like which kind of overarching teams will be there. So the next research topic will be pandemic preparedness, and we're working on that to gain a program where more than one PhD student can be involved in. So if we look at further future challenges, then on a European level or a global level, we have to be prepared for the next pandemic. There are also global health. So next to One Health, you also have the global health issue. So that is more than just infectious diseases. We have to deal with biodiversity. There is a climate change and a protein shift. So that are the One Health global challenges. If I look to the Netherlands, then of course we also have to be prepared for the next pandemic. We are, it is a bit over now, but we are still in the avian influenza outbreak. And 4 weeks ago, a blue tongue outbreak started. So we also have that on a national level of the Netherlands. And looking at the outcome, I also saw already that outbreaks are, don't stop at the border. So when I come to the veterinary part of One Health, then we have the dynamics in the livestock farming. So you have the livestock farm itself within a house, or when you have free range animals, then it is not within the house, but at least within the surroundings. And then you have, of course, the interaction between the animals. So the animal-animal interaction. And before you can have a zoonosis, you also already have to have almost an animal-animal interaction of diseases. Then you have an interaction with the farmer. You have an interaction with society, especially the people living in the neighborhood, and you have an interaction with the environment. So here you already, due to the fact that you have a livestock farming, are in the middle of a One Health approach. When I talk about One Health in livestock, then of course we're talking about infectious diseases like avian influenza, but there are more infectious diseases that have a zoonotic potential, and by that maybe a pandemic potential. So for the avian influenza, we have in place a rather harsh surveillance to see what is going on in poultry. But there's also a wildlife interaction with poultry, because avian influenza is introduced by the wild birds coming from mostly abroad the Netherlands, and are able to shed influenza, and by that infecting poultry. And then there is a chance that the influenza can infect humans. But One Health is also antibiotics. So we have to look at prevention of usage, but also the detection of resistance. Is the antibiotic resistance, comes that by the animals, or is that comes that from something else? And how can we actually see the interaction? One other health approach from a veterinary perspective is a foodborne diseases, like Salmonella or Campylobacter coming from meat or coming from the eggs. That is also One Health, although the infection is due to the fact that we are eating meat or products. We also have a wildlife-livestock interaction as African swine fever, or a vector-borne disease like blue tongue. And African swine fever and blue tongue cannot harm human health, but it does harm animal health. And I'm not sure if you have seen the pictures or the clinical signs of blue tongue that is going on right now in the Netherlands. That is serotype 3. It started 4 weeks ago with like 2 or 3 farms. And if you look at the picture here, then you see the red ones that are the sheep farms. The blue ones are the cattle farms. Really a lot of farms are infected. And those sheep have really severe clinical signs. They have necrosis in the mouth, and by that they are not able to eat by pain. And if you don't eat as a sheep, also if you don't eat as a human actually, then you will die in the end and suffer a lot. So I want to ask you, and maybe you can put it also in the chat, if you think that from a One Health perspective, even if human health is not affected or will not be affected, if you think it is a One Health problem, or we have to have a One Health approach to go and proceed, what you think about that? Because blue tongue and African swine fever is really something that will affect livestock, but definitely it will not affect humans. And then the prevention and prediction. What can we do from the animal side? So we can have a quarantine before we actually test new animal introduction and products. We can look at waste disposals from farms. And then that is, for instance, the manure. Because if you look at the Q fever outbreak from a couple of years ago, it was also placenta that was going into the air, maybe also a bit of the manure. We don't really know that by now, but we should also think about that. And then, of course, biosecurity. Biosecurity to have the human-animal interaction less involved, but also see if we can have buffer zones between wildlife and livestock. Also to have a transport, if you have a transport restriction when you have outbreaks in a certain part of your country. And and also think about the fact if you want to have mixed animal species in one farm, and where that could actually enhance zoonotic potential, or that it could be a good thing. So it could go in both sides, but we have to think when we redesign farms and redesigns how we put things into the region, how we should do that. Then, of course, an on-farm surveillance for early detection, an eradication, vaccination, trade restrictions are all things that we can prevent to have a spread and to have animals more healthy and people more healthy. And then resilient systems. So how can we have systems or animals that are better resistant and thereby resilient for diseases? And just some examples, because in the end I am a scientist, so I thought it would also be nice to put some science in here, although it is just this scheme. So what I actually think that if we improve intestinal health in livestock, that we can improve the resistance to diseases. So we decrease the disease susceptibility. And how can we actually improve intestinal health? Is by steering, for instance, the microbiota, because the microbiota within the intestine will influence the immune development and the development early in life. And we should take into account also the mother animals in this sense, that they also program the offspring. And in this sense, it is a pig, but for poultry, it is more or less similar. Also, housing systems will influence the intestinal health. The genetic potential, of course, also can increase intestinal health, but keep in mind that microbiota can also be seen as part of the genetics of the animal. And then the diet composition and feed additives will be able to steer the microbiota. If you look at resilient livestock, then also here the fact that you can make use of the adaptive capacity of animals instead of only having animals in a controlled system where they are not being challenged. And of course, this is not a picture where I say that you should not have walls next to the animals, but having animals that are able to have adaptive capacity on the development of the immune system, feeding strategies, but also the enrichment in the housing and also the genotype, but also caning experience will influence the disease susceptibility and thereby the epidemic potential. What we have done in Wageningen, so this is a Wageningen specific One Health program. We as Wageningen have like different science groups. So we have environmental, social science, plant science, animal sciences, and economical sciences. And we bridged the forces of all the sciences, and we built a program, Erase at Work. And there we have preparedness, response, prevention, and recovering and learning. So we also built this into the education program. And this is really working nice to join forces and to see as one university which kind of expertise do you have. And of course, we are combining this with the Netherlands Center of One Health, but this is a rather large program of investment money of Wageningen University in research. And then I come to the end of the presentation. So the Netherlands Center of One Health, within the next years, until 2027, we have agreed on the agenda, and that the next overarching theme will be emerging pandemic and preparedness. So these are the overarching topics. And what we have done in the past is we have started to seed, like with 3 universities, to build a community that is grown to like, I'm not really sure if it is already like completely an adult plant, but at least it is an adult community where we can find each other. We're also trying to do this the same with some money, because in the end, getting grants or in other ways having it financed on overarching topics is still hard for us, at least, to gain, because most of the grants are in the different pillars and not in the overarching part. But we are working as a group together, trying to get us into the ministry, and it is really working because we do have some starting projects now that are being granted by the government, and also on the European part, we do see that things are changing. So by that, I will stop the presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annemarie. Very clear presentation about this Netherlands Center and how you organized actually research and everything related to that. With regard to One Health in the Netherlands, I think it provides inspiration for others to proceed. Now, I invited our attendees to post questions in the chat. One question came in, and I propose that we start by that one. So you can read it also, I believe. I was wondering about the activities of the young NCOH community. Do the students tackle projects together? Are there journal clubs, social activities, etc.?
I'm not sure if there are journal clubs. I know for sure that there are social activities. So they are going to one of the partners, having their some talks with senior researchers, and also having a tour on the property and see how that works. They also go together to see how presentations can be done in a more professional way. We also had like a pitch program so that the PhD students learn how to pitch their project, that people still understand what it is, but only in 3 minutes. And most important is that they indeed can find each other. So yes, that is, I hope I answered that question. So the activities are also during the science cafe. They had like the last time they had like a speed date event, so that the young PhD students were speed dating with the old researchers, and they prepared some questions, like rather random questions, but it really was enjoyable.
Thank you. I will proceed with the second question here from the Belgian One Health community, and coming back to the one about pets, etc., in a minute. So also in Belgium, the One Health community is getting more organized, so that an exchange between the Netherlands community and the Belgian one in this particular case would be envisageable. Would that be something that is to be pursued? Is there a scope for mutual benefits and strengthening?
Yeah, I think that collaboration and exchanging ideas and knowledge is always a good thing to do. I do see that it is also dependent on the persons that are being involved, because you have to gain energy out of these collaborations and bijeenkomsten, meetings. And yeah, so I think that it would be great to do so.
Well, Robert, this is an invitation, maybe almost to link the two communities. Yes.
Yeah. So just let's have a meeting, Robert, and then we can discuss how, and maybe just invite you for the next annual meeting or for a science cafe, and then you just can hop in.
Now let's go to the question about pets. So Avi Beckers wrote, you now mostly talked about livestock animals. What about pets, cats and dogs? Do they fit into the One Health perspective?
Yeah, I think definitely they do fit in the One Health perspective. But we did not put that in the program because cat and dogs are rather individually held. So for prevention and preparedness, it is a bit harder to get a project or a program going on. But certainly for some infectious diseases, we do take cats and dogs into account. But the interaction between a cat and a dog and their owner, it's most of the times a bit different than between people and livestock. So there's a different dimension also there.
Does that mean that maybe some original research could be done with regard to the interaction between pets and their owners, and maybe the larger environment of the owners?
Yes, that is an interesting question, because I'm not really sure, because some dog and cat owners really sleep with their animals or with their pets, and prevention can be a bit harder than for other animals. So it is really a good research topic, but then you also probably need like social sciences, so behavioral sciences along with it. And in the Netherlands Center of One Health, we have often a discussion, should we also have social sciences involved? And especially when you talk about pets, you definitely also should have into the research that you are conducting social sciences and behavioral sciences involved, yes.
Thank you. And then there is this question from Hélène Lerust. Do you have examples of academic activities that are used by WUR to help students better understand the stakes of One Health? So we move into the education here. Yeah.
Yes, we started with summer classes. And that was not only from WUR, but it was also for students abroad. We also had a summer class in connection together with INRAE to have a summer class combined there. And we are talking to University of Utrecht, so the veterinary science, and the Wageningen Animal Sciences to have a combined master program on One Health. So it is still like in the basis or on the start, but we are seeing how we can connect. But then administration is always a bit harder between universities if it is students if they are involved. But we from Wageningen, we help students in that sense that we have a One Health classes that they can be involved in the Nederland Center One Health, and that we try to combine students with the University of Utrecht, for instance.
Yeah. So maybe connected to that one, there's another question, of course, but you asked yourself a question about whether phenomena, diseases that do not affect humans should be brought under the One Health umbrella. I didn't see a reply to that in the chat. Maybe my personal conviction is that this is not the case, because we would make the One Health team something hollow. Everything would fit under it, and maybe in the end it loses its meaning. But of course, I'm also interested in your answer to your own question, basically.
Yeah, because One Health is the interaction of ecosystems. And that's why I think that healthy livestock in that sense also already is an ecosystem. Is if midgets that are maybe there due to a climate change, or are there because they are moving around a bit easier than animals can be transported. So I see it as a One Health problem or a One Health topic. But I do see that people. We are in debate as scientists if human health is not involved, if it is still a One Health topic. But I believe it is a One Health topic. But I'm maybe not that objective because I'm from the livestock part. But having healthy livestock, or at least having an ecosystem where animals and people are healthy, is in my opinion an One Health topic.
Well, that's a clear statement you make. Maybe some of the attendees want to respond to that. But I'll move to the final question we have so far in the chat. It's about digital agricultural technologies and the role they play in the One Health approach in the Netherlands. Whether you could share some challenges or opportunities in this regard.
Yes, one of the themes that's called smart and healthy farming. And the smart is there indeed because of the technologies that can play an important part. Because in the farming systems, especially, sensoring can be in place to have way earlier detection than that you can actually already see the pathogen itself. So I do believe it plays an important role, and we do also have different projects running together with also private parties to see how things can work out. So we do have a project on video cameras, coughing, but also on the climate in the farm, and see if that data together and combining the data can already see airway problems or diarrhea earlier than that you can see as a farmer. So yes, I really think that it will play an important part. And we just starting, and tomorrow is the kickoff with a large project between technical universities, the Veterinary University Utrecht and the Animal Sciences Group, to see if with an electronic nose system, so we call it a nose, but of course it will not be a nose, if with smell and VOCs we can actually also detect intestinal disbalance, and thereby already being earlier in detection. So I see that it will play an important role in the future, but we also have to have the society involved in this more technology-based farms.
Mm-hmm. Does it mean that the term precision livestock farming comes close to this portion of One Health? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I see a question from Maria Guerra. about the previous topic, agreed, and also because animals' health affect food provisions directly. So I think, Maria, that you respond to this question whether human health must be connected to the issue at stake to talk about
and there you're
One
also
Health.
right. Food security is also a One Health issue. And if animals are being affected in such a way that food security will be affected, then it will, in that sense, directly affect human health also. Yes, you're right about it.
Thank you. I do not see any other remark or question in the chat. If some of the attendees would like to intervene orally, maybe quickly raise your hand. If not, I think we can conclude our webinar by advertising tomorrow's webinar, which will focus on the environmental dimension of One Health. Annemarie, you mentioned the terms biodiversity, ecosystems, wildlife, etc. So this is all also related to the environmental component. I believe that tomorrow from Raf Aerts, we will hear more about it. So please feel free to join tomorrow if you are free to further extend our discussions. And I want to thank everybody here to attend. Well, I see something new here in the chat, and since we have still a few minutes of time, chime in on Annemarie's question. I do believe blue tongue and other diseases which are not zoonotic need a One Health approach. Animal health welfare directly impacts food supply and thus humans. Equally importantly, animal health welfare impacts affective factors, how farmers feel about being a good farmer and how society perceives agriculture. I believe that's a confirmation of what was said earlier.
Yeah, thank you for that input. Yes, great.
Yeah. So thank you all. Hope to see or hear or read you tomorrow in our third webinar. And I'm sure that this webinar was informative to all of us. And once again, Annemarie, thank you for your contribution.
Yeah. Thank you. It was really nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And if you have any other questions coming up later, don't hesitate to email me and we can have a further discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nogmaals bedankt, Annemarie.
Ja, geen probleem.
Ja.
Ik neem contact op met Robert en dan hebben we waarschijnlijk nog ergens in de toekomst weer een meeting. Hartstikke bedankt.
Ja, tot ziens.